For 12 years, the Galactic Council believed humanity was hiding something. Not weapons, not colonies, something bigger. Humans had joined the wider galaxy peacefully. They traded. They signed treaties. They sent scientists. They even accepted observers on several of their frontier worlds. But there was one thing nobody had ever seen. A true Terran capital warship. Human diplomats always arrived in small cruisers. Human merchants used ordinary cargo vessels. Even their patrol ships looked unimpressive compared to the enormous dreadnoughts of older civilizations. So the galaxy reached a simple conclusion. Humanity was technologically clever, economically useful, diplomatically annoying, but militarily weak. That belief lasted until the day Ambassador Elena Ward arrived at the largest peace summit in galactic history. She came aboard a diplomatic shuttle barely 60 meters long. No escort. No destroyers. No fighter screen. Nothing. Alien admirals laughed when they saw it. Then, 20 minutes into the summit, every sensor on the station activated at once. One officer stared at his screen and whispered, "That reading is impossible." The station commander turned toward him. "What did you detect?" The officer swallowed. "Something has been sitting directly above us." "How long?" He checked again. "Since before the human ambassador arrived." The commander's face hardened. "What is it?" The officer slowly looked up. "I think it's her escort." Then, space above the station bent, and something enormous began to appear. The summit was being held at Meridian Station, a neutral fortress positioned between three major empires. It had been designed to survive wars. 20 kilometers across, armored, shielded, surrounded by defense platforms. Every delegation had been warned not to bring heavy military forces within 1 million kilometers. The rule existed for obvious reasons. Nobody wanted a peace conference to become a fleet standoff. The Car Dominion brought 6 diplomatic cruisers. The Valori Federation brought 4 destroyers disguised as ceremonial escorts. The Scythian Empire arrived with a battle carrier and argued that it technically counted as a transport vessel. Humanity brought 1 shuttle. That irritated everyone. Not because it looked dangerous. Because it looked disrespectful. Admiral Tarek of the Scythian Empire watched the human shuttle dock. "That is their entire delegation?" His aide nodded. "Ambassador Ward, 12 diplomats, 6 security officers. No escort? None detected." Tarek smiled. "I told you." "Told me what?" Humans bluff. Across the station, similar conversations were happening. The galaxy had spent years hearing rumors about Terran military technology. Ships that could disappear from sensors. Weapons that could strike without warning. Fleets hidden outside map space. Nobody had proof. And older civilizations disliked mysteries. Ambassador Elena Ward stepped onto Meridian Station, wearing a simple, dark diplomatic uniform. She was 52. Calm, sharp-eyed. Former Terran Navy intelligence. Officially retired from military service, that detail made Admiral Tarek curious. He met her outside the council chamber. "Ambassador, Admiral," he looked behind her. "You travel lightly." Elena smiled. "I packed everything I needed." Tarek glanced toward the docking bay. "No escort?" "No visible escort." He laughed. Interesting choice of words. Elena continued walking. Usually is. The summit began 1 hour later. The purpose was simple. Prevent war between the Scythian Empire and the Car Dominion. Both sides had mobilized fleets along a disputed corridor containing 7 inhabited worlds. Humanity had been asked to mediate because it had alliances with neither side. For the first 2 hours, negotiations were boring. Trade routes, mining rights, border access, civilian protection. Then, the first explosion hit the station. The entire council chamber shook. Lights went red, security doors sealed, delegates shouted. Elena stayed seated. Admiral Tarek stood. "What was that?" A station officer answered through emergency communication. "External attack." The room went silent. "From whom?" Unknown vessels just exited fold space inside the defense perimeter. A tactical display appeared. 37 ships, black hulls, no transponders, no recognized design. They were already firing. Meridian Station's shields activated. The second impact was harder. One delegate shouted, "How did they bypass perimeter sensors?" Nobody knew. The attackers had appeared inside the warning zone. Their first volley destroyed 3 defense platforms. The second damaged the station's communications array. Admiral Tarek ran toward the tactical display. "Where are our escorts?" "Engaging." The Scythian battle carrier moved first. Then, the car cruisers. Within minutes, the unknown attackers had destroyed 2 ships. Their technology was better than expected. Fast, coordinated, precise. One of the station officers stared at the data. "They're targeting diplomatic vessels first." Elena stood. "Not the station? Not yet." She studied the pattern. "They're not here to destroy Meridian." Tarek turned. "What?" "They're here to kill the delegations." Another impact shook the chamber. The unknown ships pushed closer. The station commander opened an emergency channel. "All diplomatic escorts, concentrate fire on Vector 7. Alien fleets responded. Humanity did not. Admiral Tarek looked toward Elena. "Where is your ship?" "At the dock." "I mean your military escort." She said nothing. His expression changed. "You really came here without one?" Elena looked at him. "No." Tarek frowned. "Then where is it?" She glanced toward the tactical display. "You're still looking for the wrong thing." The attackers launched fighters. Hundreds. They accelerated toward Meridian Station. Alien defense vessels moved to intercept. The Scythian carrier lost its forward shields. One car cruiser exploded. Panic spread across the council chamber. Then the station sensor screamed. A technician looked at his console. "Commander, what now?" "Gravitational distortion above the station." "Enemy?" "I don't know." The reading grew. 1 kilometer. 3, 10. The sensor system struggled to define the object. The station commander stared. "That's not possible." Admiral Tarek saw the numbers. "What?" The technician whispered. "Whatever it is, it's larger than Meridian Station." Everyone slowly turned toward Elena. She calmly adjusted her sleeve. Tarek's voice dropped. "Ambassador." "Yes? What exactly did you bring with you?" Elena looked at him. "My escort." Outside, stars vanished, not because something blocked them, because space itself seemed to change shape. A massive outline appeared directly above Meridian Station. At first, only blue lines were visible. Then armor, then engines, then weapons. The ship was so large that station sensors kept recalculating its dimensions. 30 kilometers. 40, 52. A Terran warship materialized from complete stealth. The hull was matte black. No decorative lights, no ceremonial markings. Only one white symbol near the bow. Earth. The unknown attackers immediately changed formation. Their advance stopped. Admiral Tarek stared at the vessel. "You had a 50-kilometer warship sitting above this station?" Elena answered, 58. He looked at her. "That does not make this better." The Terran vessel opened communications. A human captain appeared. "Ambassador Ward." Elena nodded. "Captain Reyes." "Threat confirmed." "Yes. Rules of engagement?" Elena looked around the council chamber. Hundreds of delegates were watching. She answered, "Protect the station." "Understood." The channel closed. Tarek stared. "That's it?" "What? No warning? No ultimatum?" Elena smiled. "They already know they're in the wrong place." The Terran Dreadnought moved. Or at least that was what the sensors claimed. Nobody inside the station could visually understand the acceleration. One moment, the ship was above Meridian. The next, it was between the station and the attackers. Enemy fighters fired first. Hundreds of energy weapons struck the human vessel. Nothing happened. The Dreadnought's shields did not flash. No visible barrier appeared. The shots simply curved. Several passed around the hull and disappeared into empty space. The station's science officer whispered, "They're bending local space-time." Tarek turned. "For defense?" "Yes, that technology is theoretical." Elena looked at him. Not on Earth. The human ship fired one weapon. No explosion. No visible beam. One attacking cruiser simply stopped moving. Then another. Then 6 more. Their engines shut down simultaneously. Weapons dead. Communications gone. But hulls intact. Tarek stared. What did they do? Alina answered, disabled them. You could destroy them. Yes. Then why not? She looked at him. Because we still don't know who they are. The unknown fleet finally transmitted. A distorted alien voice filled the chamber. Human vessel. Captain Reyes answered. Identify yourself. You interfere in matters beyond your species. That wasn't an identification. The voice continued. Withdraw. No. You protect civilizations that will eventually betray you. Captain Reyes paused. Maybe. The alien voice seemed confused. Then why defend them? Reyes answered. Because betrayal is a problem for later. A pause. Murder is happening now. The attackers fired everything. The human dreadnought vanished, not cloaked. Moved, seconds later, it appeared behind the enemy formation. Admiral Tarek whispered, no ship that large should move like that. Elena said, I've told our engineers the same thing. The dreadnought released hundreds of small objects. Tarek leaned toward the tactical display. Missiles? No, Elena watched. Drones, the drones surrounded enemy vessels, then attached themselves to the hulls. Systems failed across the hostile fleet, weapons powered down, engines shut off. One by one, 37 attacking vessels became motionless. The entire engagement lasted 4 minutes and 11 seconds. Meridian Station remained intact. The surviving alien escorts remained alive. Even most of the attackers survived. The Terran ship returned to its original position above the station. Then disappeared again. Complete stealth. The room remained silent. Admiral Tarek finally spoke. How long has humanity possessed that? Elena sat down. Which part? The ship. A while. How many exist? She smiled. Enough, that is not an answer. It's the answer you're getting. Tarek looked around. Other delegates were equally shaken. The peace summit had suddenly become about something much larger than a border dispute. The car representative spoke. Why hide this capability? Elena looked toward him. Would you have invited us here if we arrived with that ship visible? Nobody answered. She continued. You asked humanity to mediate because you believed we were neutral. We are. But neutrality works better when nobody is staring at a battleship. Tarek folded his arms. You deliberately allowed us to believe humanity was weak. No. Alina's expression hardened slightly. You decided that yourselves. Silence. We sent diplomats. You saw weakness. We sent traitors. You saw weakness. We refused to parade military hardware through every system we entered. You saw weakness. She looked around the chamber. That misunderstanding belongs to you. The station commander interrupted. We have identified the attackers. A symbol appeared. Several alien delegates reacted immediately. The Wrath Collective. A militant faction thought extinct 50 years earlier. Their plan had been to assassinate the summit delegations and trigger war between the Scythians and Kar. Without the human escort, it probably would have worked. The summit continued. Strangely, negotiations became easier. Perhaps because everyone had just survived an assassination attempt. Perhaps because they had watched humanity reveal power and then choose restraint. The Scythian Empire and Kar Dominion signed an agreement 11 hours later. 7 disputed worlds became autonomous. Both fleets withdrew. Trade resumed. Before leaving, Admiral Tarek found Elena near the docking bay. The human shuttle waited behind her. Still tiny. Still unimpressive. He looked through the station window. Empty space above them. At least it looked empty. Is it still there? Elena smiled. Yes, I cannot detect it. That's generally the point. Tarek hesitated. I owe you an apology. For what? I thought humans were pretending to be stronger than they were. Elena stepped toward the shuttle. And now? Tarek looked back at the apparently empty stars. Now I suspect you spend most of your time pretending to be weaker. Elena stopped, then smiled. That's closer. Years later, the Meridian incident became required study in galactic military academies. Not because humanity revealed an enormous stealth dreadnought. Not because the ship defeated 37 attackers in 4 minutes. But because of one question. Why had humanity kept such power hidden? The official Terran answer was simple. Because weapons were tools, not introductions. Humanity wanted the galaxy to meet its scientists first. Its traders, its explorers, its diplomats. If everything went well, nobody ever needed to meet the warships. But after Meridian Station, the galaxy learned something important. When a human ambassador arrived alone, that did not necessarily mean she was unprotected. Sometimes the most dangerous ship in the system was the one your sensors insisted wasn't there.